Hey guys, I got an important topic today. The topic is value. Very important to know the price of something, more important to know the value. I'm here in Glassell Park, a really gorgeous listing that we have coming up. As always, Josh, Keys Real Estate, like, subscribe, all that. And if you're curious about working with the best, contact us below. Thanks for joining me. Let's get to it. So before we go inside, I want to show you the first place that the current owner has added some value. Parking was really tough, and as you can see, street's a little steep, tough to get cars in and out. So the owner spent a lot of money on putting in a driveway that you could park a couple cars, put in an EV charger, and still maintain this driveway. So in an area where it's very difficult to park, the owner solved that problem for you. Plenty of parking. A lot of cool aspects about this property. It's an old house and has a lot of that 1920s charm. This is what you look at when you step out of your front door. Gorgeous hilltop downtown views, definite value in that view. On a personal note, I just want to say I'm always jealous of a proper front porch, especially one with some privacy, some views. I'd say have an opportunity to trim some of these trees and open up that downtown view, maybe get a little sunset. Definitely a place where you can add some value. Let's go inside the house. I'll show you some more cool stuff. The owner has moved out. We're probably gonna get this place painted. I think it's much easier for someone to envision a home with clean white walls. There's some yellows, some greens, some holes in the walls. Just a little something. You can check out our how to get a property ready for listing right here. Let's check out the windows. Wood frame windows throughout the house. It was very important for the current owner to keep the aesthetic and the integrity of this old house. It's not a huge house. This is a 2-bed, 1-bath main house. And then I'll show you the surprise when we get to the backyard. But the living room and the first bedroom have those front-facing views that I talked about. Totally decent-sized living room. Room for some upgrades, certainly in terms of the appliances. Old cooktop, old microwave, old fridge. Just throwing in some new appliances into a home definitely elevates it. Also, new dishwasher, and I can speak from experience, works a lot better than an old dishwasher. During the owner's remodel of this house, there were some really thoughtful additions, including this extra storage in the bathroom, which can be incredibly useful. You're not just trying to load all your stuff up into a medicine cabinet. Put in a sort of larger than normal soaking style tub, remodeled the tiles, but again, kept the original aesthetic of the wood windows. Very cool. And one of my favorite aspects, skylights. Skylights in the kitchen are my favorite. You automatically get points if you put skylights in the kitchen or skylights in the master bathroom. I love it. I think that it elevates a home incredibly. You bring up the ceilings. It puts a ton of natural light. I have the lights on in here right now, but if I shut it off, it would look just as great. So points. Put the skylights up in your kitchen. Now let's go into the back bedroom, the green bedroom. Welcome to the green room.
Welcome to the goodie room.
I would definitely say that painting this room is going to add some value. This room goes directly out to the backyard. Double doors, brand new deck. Maybe not new, but the seller put a lot of thought and time and money into the upgrades that were made to this house, including this deck. So this is an all-weather deck that's going to last a super long time. You don't have to worry about ceiling, you don't have to worry about termites. It's a thoughtful, durable, expensive, but worth it addition to the house. Now we are in Los Angeles and there are drought concerns. So having this drought tolerant backyard is something that I think a lot of people will find appealing. And this house comes with a bocce ball set, which you can find in the helpful little storage unit back here. But I want you to see how bright and how private it is back here. Because you're up on a hillside, being up above this neighbor is fantastic. Plus, you get these sort of peekaboo views of the other hillsides in the area. As you can see, I'm in the backyard and super private. These sun sails are another great addition because it does get hot, it does get sunny back here. But now let's see the really, really special aspect of this property. This is an impeccably designed, very thoughtful, matching to the main house, ADU. Check out the pocket door. This isn't an afterthought. Look how smooth it is. I can tell you that it is heavy, it is smooth. You can feel the quality of some of these additions. A thing that I often tell my clients is when you're buying a house, you should look for a home that if it was redone by someone who is planning on making use of the upgrades and the remodel, because they were probably going to think about the quality and the aesthetic a bit more than someone who is, for example, flipping a house. Now, there are some people who do excellent flips, but I'd say more often than not, someone who made the renovation for themselves has likely used more high quality materials, has been more thoughtful about their vendors, and has been less cost conscious and more conscious about the way things felt, the way things looked, and the quality. So this ADU was built by a person who was planning on living here. They paid special attention to a lot of the finer details. So standing in here, I can tell you, you can feel the quality of a build in an ADU like this. Now there's a ton of storage back here and split unit. So you're not gonna have central AC, which is totally fine for a unit this big. You don't need that, I think it'd be overkill. There are 2 units, so you can even run one at a time if you just want to cool over the bedroom, or say you're cooking and you wanted a little cooler in here. View of the backyard, and look at this killer remodel of the bathroom with skylight in the bathroom. See, it adds points. You put a skylight anywhere, it makes it great. We got the dual sinks, walk-in shower, skylight obviously. The value, because this is a talk about value, the value of something like this isn't just the extra space. Brad and I often preach on buying and holding property. And after you've owned a property for a while and you're in a position to buy your next home, turning your outgoing residence into an income property. With all the parking that you have out front, the separate structures, there is certainly potential here for 2 rental units. So you buy a single family home, you grow out of it, and then you get 2 rental units. One of the things you can think about when you start transitioning into being a landlord is if you own a single family home and it is vacant, you have 100% vacancy, you have to fill it. If you own 2 units and there's 1 unit vacant, you have 50% vacancy. You have 4 units and there's 1 vacant, you have 25% vacancy, and so on. So having a lot of units is certainly beneficial, not just because it's added rental income, but when you do have vacancy, it impacts you a little bit less. You know, if you're able to fill most of your units, or say you're living here and you need a little extra income, you can subsidize your mortgage by renting out this back unit, or you could live here and rent out the front unit for a little bit more. So there is, depending on your situation and your plan of property ownership, there is additional value to finding a property that does have, for example, a very well-built ADU. So this was a video today on value. Now, we think that this is gonna be $1 million house. I think that there are a ton of things that are going for it. As I said at the top of the video, price is one thing, value is something else. Now, as inflation is looming, as getting more expensive to own a home, it's also getting more expensive to rent. So in purchasing this home, you can buy it as your primary residence and potentially convert it to 2 rental units after you move out, or live in the main house, rent out the ADU, and instant value. You're able to pad your monthly costs by adding rental income, which is fantastic. There's also, if you don't want to be a landlord immediately upon owning your home, there's also the obvious utility, especially, you know, in a COVID world, of having the separate space. An additional thing, and I want to talk about how it's important to look at a property, you know, sort of have a global view of the property. One of the first things I mentioned was the additional parking. Now, having the parking out in front is really important when you're having when you have two separate structures. So when you do get to the point where you're going to parse it out or rent one unit, live in the other, rent both out, to be able to allow everyone who lives here to have a separate parking space in a hillside area where parking is very difficult, that is a big value add. Now, additionally, there are the great views, there is the old charm of the house, and then there are some of the specific upgrades. There is the remodeled kitchen, which we're sitting in, which has the wonderful natural light from the skylights. There's the drought-tolerant landscaping in the back. There's the very high-quality decking that was put in, something that you're not going to need to maintain. It's a cost that the current seller has already taken off your books. There is the thoughtful addition of extra storage. There's the storage unit in the back. There are a bunch of tiny things that you may not notice immediately upon walking into a property, but if you lived here for a while, or if you're in a position where you can convert it to an income producing property, these little things certainly add up. And you may buy it in a market where you are competing against other owner users, and you may be an owner user at the time. But if you look forward through your path of home ownership and what this asset is going to be to you, not just a year from now, but 10, 15 years from now. I've had buyers say, oh, I'm hesitant to purchase a home in a seller's market. I don't think that is the proper framing all the time, especially when you're able to find a property like this that has so much value. Because the price you're going to pay is one thing, but the value that you're going to get out of it after years of ownership is going to make the price not irrelevant, but a price range much more agreeable. If this place sells for $950,000 or $1,050,000, yeah, that's a $100,000 swing. But if you own it for 10 years, it's not going to matter as much to you if you see how you can capitalize on the value of the property. So I know I said value about 300 times in this video, but that's because I want to hammer home the point. It's really important. Write some comments below if you see some things that maybe I missed that you think are more valuable. And I love to have the dialogue with everybody. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Again, if you're curious about Los Angeles real estate as a whole, if you want to work with a really knowledgeable team who cares about every deal, don't hesitate to reach out. Love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.